You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. 833-212-1017 is the number. My in-studio guest is none other than Milwaukee Police Chief Jeffery Norman, who I knew as a detective. I'm trying to think that I know you in uniform.
Yeah, I think you probably saw me as a lieutenant.
We probably crossed or something, and then as police officer.
Oh, I don't think you did.
Because you were at 5.
Nope, I was at district number 2.
No, we would have crossed because I was at 6. But you came after me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay.
It's all good.
You were just a youngin'.
Still alive.
I don't know if we can say, look, I don't know if you can say that right now.
It's all in the thought.
That's what we doing.
Act.
That's what we doing.
Believe it. But no. I was just told that I was young, so I was good. I was good to go in that one.
I was told I was young, too, in my 60s, and they were upset because then I could, even with a bad back, I could run faster than them and do it. And they were like, "Okay, we're not playing with you anymore." I was like, "What?" Like, I just
you keep yourself in shape.
Yeah, you have to. So you wrote a letter last week, and I've been thinking about writing one of those letters and saying things that just came to my mind. And
please don't do that.
Well, with a little respect.
Okay.
Well, wait a minute. If you could do it, I could do it. But it just dawned on me that, you were able to say some things that I'm sure ruffled a lot of feathers. That made people take a step back. And the reason I say that is because you did it in a way that it had no racial overtones. It had no socioeconomic or where you live or your community or your house. It was basically, if I had to sum up the letters, like, y'all need to get y'all kids.
Focus on behaviors.
And so what precipitated that?
Well, the big thing is to not let us become numb to these reportings of what our young ones are doing in our community. I know that there's a lot of reporting going on locally,
right,
statewide, nationwide. I don't want anyone to get desensitized and think that this is just an everyday occurrence. Oh, this is just Milwaukee. To keep it out there in the community, to have this as a conversation, but also, like the letter or the press release stated, a call to action. And so I know a lot of, some of the responses were, what are these questions about? And we're going to ask you questions. I'm like, if I had all the answers, I wouldn't be giving you questions.
You wouldn't be police chief. You'd be czar of the world.
Right. Wizard of Oz or, the Wiz.
So for my top 5 at 5 today, and I know you didn't hear it, I talked about the stabbing in Kenosha, the shooting in Whitewater. There's an 11-year-old in Louisiana that shot and killed 2 people.
San Francisco.
The 30-year-old in Chicago that shot 4 people on the train, and they still don't know why. Like, in your opinion, in your professional opinion, what do you think's happening?
So I still say that between the mental health and anxiety and the resources and properly addressing it, we can still do more. I believe that there's a lot of things going on that's not being addressed, whether it's just dealing with the, mental health challenges, but, there's socioeconomic issues out here, and we need to continue to look for positive solutions. We have to be reminded in regards to the role of law enforcement. I tell people all the time, just like I said in the letter, our prime directive is to enforce the law. And as we are part of prevention, as we are part of a lot of different other efforts, we're not the experts.
Right.
And so trying to, again, keep this at the forefront of our community's, eyes, but also, reaching out and saying, hey, we're willing to, talk about solutions, what we can do better as a department. But also, I hope that this was kind of that look in the mirror type of situation too. Like, okay, but what are you doing?
Right.
So it's I believe a letter that reaches all different type of corners of the city, but also our county and state. And it I guess is doing its job because people are talking about it.
So adding to that, can the Common Council and the Common Council president, the mayor, can they add something to that, or is it just law enforcement and that's it. I mean, there's got to be some programs. There's got to be something.
Well, I do know that the efforts between the mayor and the common council, I mean, the support of the Office of Community Wellness and Safety, the programming that's going on within the community where you got the Earn and Learn or Camp Rise, but, those are all, again, singular programs. Is there anything else? Are we missing efforts out there that, a lot of times people just like, well, I'm doing it, but I don't care anybody knows I'm doing it. Well, we do have to care because those resources are needed. There are families hurting. There are individuals who, when I go around with our youth, I went to Mentor Milwaukee the other day and hearing them speak in regards to just wanting positive opportunities. Right. And I know that like for Earn and Learn or Camp Rise, turning kids away because there was more kids who wanted to be part of something and there was not enough room or space. So the call for action is, well, if you can't mentor or help out in regards to that one-on-one level, there's funding that's necessary for some. I mean, the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Milwaukee had to shut down their driver's license training because there wasn't enough funding for these young ones. So I just look at it from a standpoint, or we look at it from a standpoint that there is so much opportunity and so much talent within our community. And the more that we are working together, the more that we are leaning into this effort together, the less we have to worry about a child out there with a firearm breaking into vehicles, using that firearm in a way that, again, is a danger to our community. And that should be always unacceptable.
So why is it, do you believe, the community will be up in arms when law enforcement actually does their job making them safe?
Well, I will say that there is a lot of unfortunate issues in the past, and even right now that we contribute to as an organization that people have a tendency to bring that back into the conversation rather than trying to look forward. Right. We go backwards and say, well, how about this situation? How about this situation? I mean, there's so much residual trauma for some of the actions that we should own as an organization, but that should not take away all the other good things that's going on, and that there's still so much opportunity. So, again, continue to, extend my hand. I know a lot of different interviews are like, well, this message has always been the same. I said, well, I'm going to keep on being that broken record, because I think that it's important for us to continue to have these conversations. We're fighting for our youth. We're fighting for the future of our community. Right. And, any child's hurting is all of our children hurting.
So how do you see this blending into the education piece, blending into college, all those things? I mean, everybody's struggling, and we have a smaller, I hate to say it like this, but we have a smaller population that's been born, which means there are less kids going to elementary school, less kids in middle, high, and college. Will that, in some kind of way, slow down the crime that technically is already down?
Yes. And that's why I never wanted to make it into a numbers thing, because, your reality is your reality, especially what you see and what the media reports and whatnot can play into a lot of that reality. But I will hope that less babies out there is the reason why we'll have more for impact. We were raised, you and I, whether it's our immediate family, extended family, the community, we have to turn around and change that narrative that that's not my child or that's not our neighborhood. Right. And looking at it from a standpoint of, again, are we the wallflower or are we the one who is putting forth action? And so it is a call to action in regards to that, just, again, that reflective, introspective look in regards to, are you one just pointing a finger, or are you the one actually having those particular type of, okay, you say something, but you're actually doing something too, like voting. You don't complain about who's in office if you don't vote.
Well, I would push back on both of those, but it's up to the parent or the person who's taking care of the child first to do their job.
That's true, too.
We seem to be having to do their job for them.
That's true,
and
too.
That's what I have pushback on. I'm not raising your kid.
That's true.
I'm not taking my resources and raise your kid. If your kid steps to the line, hey, I'm willing to go to school, then I'm willing to help you.
Right.
But if you're not even bothering,
right,
and the parents aren't even bothering, what do we do?
So there's still accountability. Don't get me wrong. I think that there is this is a complex issue that has complex solutions, and accountability plays into those solutions because those situations that you just spoke of, there is responsibility not only for us as law enforcement to bring and hold those who are actively contributing to the delinquency of our children, and that we hold them their feet to the fire in regards to that. So there is a place in this conversation about that too.
All right. We got a call. You wanna take a call and see what's going on? 833-212-1017 is the number. Martin, you're on the award-winning 1017 The Truth with Chief Jeffrey Norman.
Hey, Chief, I like what you do. I like the letter. The letter was fine. But the thing is, the parents don't know how to be parents. So if the parents ain't passed down what your father passed down, Dr. Ken father passed down, it's not going to reach the kids. They're going to be influenced by others. I think you should put out a monthly letter, like a monthly letter from the chief, from the heart, and let the people know what we're going through as being the last in education in the nation. But I just want to applaud you, Chief, because I do love you, but answer your emails. It's been 2.5 years since I emailed you. But I do love you, and I appreciate you, Dr. Ken, and let's stay strong for our community, y'all. I appreciate you.
All right.
Appreciate that. And I will say this, that, definitely we can always do better. I always say this, there's no perfect situation how we address things. I know that, yes, there is opportunities out there. I know that there's programs that help those individuals who are having those type of struggles. But just as was mentioned earlier in the show, you can lead the horse to water, but you can't force the horse to drink. And there's a part where either you put effort into, learn those skills that need to be help you to be a better parent. And I know there's support programs out there. But on the flip side, they are your children.
Yes, they are.
And when you have them out after curfew, or if you are contributing to whatever illegal behaviors out there, there is accountability aspect on that. And part of our responsibility as law enforcement, we will and we have held parents accountable, because that is, again, part of the greater conversation in regards to, yes, we will support you, we will have those type of resources available for you, but also when you don't do what's right, or you contributing to the behaviors out here, there is, again, that accountability measures.
833-212-1017 is the number. Before we go to break, Tony on the Talk and Text line said, I think we should start charging the parents for their child's crime. And it's ironic that you literally just brought that up, because there are statutes for parental responsibility. Mm-hmm. And many times people complain that the parent can't pay the fine, and you're piling on.
Yeah.
Something as simple as curfew, where you can write a ticket to the child, you can write a ticket to the parent for allowing the child to be out. But at what point, we tried it with tabs, and it worked great, had some funding issues, and so it kind of went away.
Yeah.
But those are the types of programs that were made in collaboration with partners like the Boys and Girls Club that was able to pull kids in, take them to school, because school is compulsory, so you can't throw a kid out of school because they're either didn't come to school or they're late.
Right.
All those things that seem to work.
Right.
But then when crime went down, everybody decided to put money in other places.
So that is a greater conversation about, your priorities lie where you put the funding at. Mm-hmm. And that, it's not just about throwing money at things. It's about having, again, talking to you as a doctor and professor, evidence-based. And it's not about just piling on. There is discretion when we talk about these particular type of enforcement. Right. And the question always comes up, if you don't want that curfew citation, did you report your child missing? Right. Because basically it's all like, do you know where your child is at?
Right.
And there is that, actually, you're on a safe base when you say, yeah, I know my child wasn't home. There is a missing report out there, and I don't approve of what he or she is doing. Right. But there's part that we talked about earlier in this show in regards that you got to do your part, though.
Right.
And that's where that helps protect you as a parent in regards to that. We know that you're doing as best as you can because of the actions you've taken, but you can't just sit on the sideline saying, that ain't my child, or, here, have them. That's not going to be acceptable. I mean, parenting is hard. You're a parent, I'm a parent, just sent one of my childs off to college. It doesn't get any easier.
You don't have to smile that, wow, his whole demeanor
there's more tears
changed.
than happiness in regards. I mean, it's bittersweet because you want to see your child, again, take that next level, but it's still your child.
Yep.
So it is a responsibility on our parents' part that, there are things that you need to do to be able to have that level of protection, saying, hey, I put those efforts in, but, there is work.
Yes, it is.
There's work involved.
Police Chief Jeffery Norman, Milwaukee Police Department. I'm Dr. Ken Harris. You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. Traffic, sports, and weather up next.
This is Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. 833-212-1017 is the number. Tony said, does MPD, which I can right away answer this for him, no. Does MPD have a boot camp for young teenagers to help them get back on track? I don't know if that's the police department's job. Uh-oh, somebody's walking up behind me. Look at this. Look at this. These guys walking up. And are they linked up to Big Brother programs for mentors to connect these young people to teenagers? Well, I think you mentioned that earlier, working with Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
Yeah, we work. Actually, we have again reinitiate the MPAL. We have strategic partnerships with a number of different community organizations. Working with our schools. So there are a lot of things that we are, again, a part of and supporting. Right. The expectation that we run it. That's again, the challenge of making sure people understand that's not our wheelhouse. While we need to participate, while we need to be engaged and connected, that's not our responsibility to hold on, especially with all the other responsibilities that we do have. So it's always trying to level set that conversation that it is important for us to be a part of. You see me out there, I'm engaging, doing the things that we need to be able to say we see our community and the community sees us. It's just always a challenge of saying, so why don't you put this on? Why don't you put that on? Well, we're still law enforcement, though.
Right.
Let's not forget in regards to that. We still have to make sure that, the speeders not speeding out there, the people not shooting each other, there's, responding to domestic violence. So there's a lot of responsibilities that we have to juggle at times.
Okay. 833-212-1017 is the number. Humboldt, you're on the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
Actually, it's humbled.
So it sounds like one of those things we're going to be doing is helping people in the community understand what the police do. Because many of them don't understand that the police job, and I think that's one of the questions that they had, how do the police help people be safe? How do they help? But is that part of the police officer job or what? Because we seem to have an expectation that the police get called for everything from, well, now we get called to fires too, from a fire all the way down to the cat in the tree.
Well, part of that's our fault, though. We've always put an S on our chest that whatever problem you have, we'll deal with it, instead of trying to make sure that we are keeping it in the bumper rails of, somebody's bringing harm to your neighborhood. This is where we come in regards to ensuring response, ensuring accountability from a standpoint of bringing them to justice. And that's where, I believe that conversation started coming out, especially post-2020, about why is the police responding to a mental health call where there's no law violation involved?
Right.
How can we better service that particular type of call without, again, being utilizing the police in an inappropriate way, so to speak, if there's nothing that is a law-breaking type of situation.
But then there's the community caretaker aspect where you have to make sure citizens are safe.
That's true. That's true. I mean, and that's, again, a complicated answer in regards to what it means to say you're safe. Patrolling the streets is, working to keep people safe. Right. Someone who's bringing harm, domestic violence, someone had beat on their significant one, needs to have accountability for the victim in regards to that being safe. Someone who is, again, discharging a firearm in an appropriate way within the community, that is being safe. And we do put efforts in prevention. I mean, we support block watches. We get out into the community where there's engagements more than just national night outs. I mean, we go to a lot of different, culture-specific engagements. So it's important that, creating that relationship to help us understand who we are keeping safe. But that's still a community activity about being safe, looking out for thy neighbor, being, again, the responsible parent saying, my children are not going to be out after curfew because there's nothing out there for them. That is also being safe.
And so it's a twofold thing, but we seem to keep wanting to dump it on the community and the police. But I've always said you have to take care of home first.
Yeah.
And if you did that, 95% of the problems in the city would actually go away.
Working to ensure that you taking care of your slice of the pie is important.
Yeah. All right. Anything you want to leave regarding your letter? Like, what is the one thing you need people to understand from September till New Year's?
I would say there's an opportunity for all of us to have some level of impact when it comes to safety. Public safety is a community activity. The Milwaukee Police Department is a proud partner with all of our community, willing to be a part of these efforts. But we need to make sure that we are working together. We are using our own relative subject matter expertise to be able to, I would say, help lift that big law called public safety. When more hands are on it, it's easier to lift. And so I just ask our community in regards to, even those small things, talking to the kids on the block or, supporting some of our community-based organizations in our community. There's something for everyone in regards to what effort can you personally engage in to be part of this thing called public safety.
All right. Well, thank you much, Police Chief Jeffery Norman. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, too.
Thanks for coming in. You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris.
Don't touch that dial. More of Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.